We'll go. And joining me now from Ajax is Khorshid. We're keeping her last name confidential for security reasons. And from Toronto, Joe Friedberg, who helped get the family out. Welcome to the CJN Daily.
Thank you for having us.
What's the latest?
The latest is about 2 hours ago, 25th of October, the last of the family, the Jewish family in Afghanistan, cleared Afghan airspace. They are the last complement of two groups, equaling about 35 members of Afghan's actual last Jewish family. They are related to actually the known last Jew, Simantov Zebulon Simantov, who left Afghanistan earlier a couple months ago. So this family, I became aware of it through certain channels, and they were stuck there. They're under threat of, unfortunately, death and execution. And so the good news is, as of 2 hours ago, the entire family is now, they're now rescued. They're safe.
All right, let's bring in Khorshid. Khorshid, you've been in Ontario for some time. Maybe you can explain who in Canada, who's here, how many of you are here, and how did you get here? What's your story?
Okay, actually, me and three of my brothers, we are living in Toronto. So I got married and I came to Canada. And my three other brothers who came as a refugee.
And what year would that be? When was this?
I can say I came in 1999, and my brothers, one of my brother came around same time as me, and the other two came 15 years ago.
And why did you all decide to come to Canada?
Because we didn't feel safe in Afghanistan during the war, and also the story of my mom. It was not safe for us to live in Afghanistan, especially my mom. Family was very non-Jewish people in Afghanistan, and they were like a businessman. My grandfather, Muradi, he was a businessman, and he had a business in Herat as well as Kabul. And then when they left Afghanistan, after that, all the people, they know that we are related to Jewish family, and we got so many time trading when the Taliban came, especially the first time when the Taliban came. Mullah Ishaq was one of known rabbi Jewish, and the Taliban was trying to kill him. And then my family hid him in our house for more than a year when the Taliban took over first time in Kabul. So and then they came to he was looking for them, and then they find out that we were hiding him. And they came to knock our door, and they were asking for Mullah Ishaq. And then my mom said, Mullah Ishaq converted to Muslim, and you cannot take him. You cannot, because now he belongs to a Muslim community. And then after so they didn't do anything to Mullah Ishaq after they left. The Taliban, like the other government, took over. So then Mullah Ishaq came back to the place that he used to work, and he lived freely as a Jewish. And my brother helped him to take a passport to send him to Israel, but since he was happy on that time with the new government, he stayed there, and he continued to do his religious stuff as a Jewish person. And so when the Taliban came for the second time in Afghanistan, like just a few months ago, they find out about this story, and they tried to kill my mom and my family, because they said, first time you lied to us, you tried to hide this story from us, and they were threatening all my families, and they were all in danger. So luckily we got introduced with Mr. Joe by one of my brothers. So, and he helped us, and he introduced me to Ezra Eid, and we got really help, and we were like very lucky. I always call them like angels to my family. And believe me, my mom always like very happy that she got help from her family and from her side. And she is very proud to tell everybody that we were safe by our community, Israel people, and we are safe by the help of the government of Israel and also from Tajikistan. We got help from Canada. We got support from Mr. Joe, and we are really thankful to all of these people who helped and who evacuated all my family, and now they are safe in a safe place, because every day, like, my brother couldn't even go to his shop. We thought, something will happen to them. And like, I cannot explain my feeling, how happy I am after like a few nights that I haven't slept, and as well as the team that we were working together. And as soon as I find out today that they left Afghanistan, I was crying. I was like emotionally so happy, and also at the main time emotionally sad, and also at the main time very happy that they are free and they can live freely after this, and their life is not in danger anymore. So I'm so happy. I cannot express my feeling, and I'm so thankful that Mr. Joe, we found him and we got support from him. And also, I know we live in a good place. We live in Canada, which is a very multicultural country. There's lots of freedom of rights for women, for men, for children. And we are lucky to be in here. And we are here, and I hope, we get the Canadian support for my family to come here, because in this group that they flew from Afghanistan, there is like judges, there is journalists, there's children, there is footballers, there is like volleyball team girls, like lots of people. Their life were in danger in Afghanistan, so now they are in safe place, and they are waiting to get a better life, hopefully in Canada. And majority of them, they are children. They are like, they cannot wait to come in Canada to start a good life and continue their education, and not only from my family, as well as from the other group of Afghan community who are in those countries. So they really need help. And I hope Canadian government that I always call myself as a proud Canadian that I'm living in Toronto, and it's a good community, and we always receiving lots of support from Canadian government. So hopefully they would help all these Afghan people to bring them in Canada, and they can start a new life with lots of like happiness, and build their children education. So that's what we are hoping for at the moment.
So Joe, how did this all come about? How did you get involved?
So this is one of those weird, strange times where the truth is stranger than fiction. Years ago, one of my businesses, I was going to hire someone, and I had met a man who was Khurshid's brother, who is Khurshid's brother. And I think he overheard me speaking Farsi to someone, and we started chatting, and he spoke Dari, and he mentioned he liked my kippah. And I thought that was funny. I said, oh, well, thank you. And he said something to me which started the ball rolling. He said, I am a Jew too. This is a small world. I didn't believe him. I thought it was just a weird thing. I thought he was joking. And that was years ago. And over time, we built a friendship, and he would tell me things that at first it didn't affect me either way. So I didn't really care. But, he would say things like, my mother's Tova Muradi. And I'm like, how would he know that? Like, how would he even know the name Tova Muradi? I've heard of it as an Afghan and even a Persian last name. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And he didn't tell me any other details. He says, oh, technically, like, I am a Jew. We grew up this way. My dad was a Muslim. My mother was a Jew. And I thought it was an interesting story. But, to get to the heart of the situation, about 3 months ago, 2.5 months ago, I saw him randomly. He was delivering pizza to a neighbor, actually. And he looked very sad. So I asked him, like, hi. I was outside, and I said, how's it going, bud? Long time no see. And he looked dejected. I wouldn't say he was crying, but he had a lot of sadness. And I said, what's going on? He goes, plainly to my face, they're going to kill my mother. And I thought, what is this guy talking about? Why would they? Like, I know she was, I believe him. She's Jewish. She comes from a Jewish family. And he said, well, because of Mullah Ishaq. So Mullah Ishaq, for the listeners, is Rabbi Isaac. Rabbi Isaac Levin was, I think, supposedly the second last Jew, allegedly, in Afghanistan. He was they were very difficult. The last two Jews that had a very difficult relationship. and she had said that they're going to kill his mother because she hid this Jewish rabbi in Kabul in the late 90s. And I thought, he never told me that. I never even knew of that. And he goes, yeah, it is what it is. And they think that we're spies, and they've never accepted my mother in the community, and I didn't know what to do. So I was shocked. There's all sorts of halacha. There's all sorts of things that are required from Jews' perspective. I'm like thinking about this. I'm like, is this even a real threat? I mean, they married 50 years ago. Ostensibly, their kids weren't raised with much Judaism. Like, what would the issue be? So we started talking, and sure enough, I made some inquiries to people who know more about these things than I do, and in fact that they were threatened, actually. So he later admitted that they threatened to stone her and behead her. So I did what I guess I thought was appropriate. I spoke to my rabbi. I spoke to big chachamim, and they said, if you can do something to help. So I decided, I was going to see what I could do. Obviously, I'm here in Canada. There's not much I can do. In the big picture, I'm insignificant, but I might have friends and family in different places that could help. So one night I went to his work late at night, and I just said, can I speak to him? And he wasn't there. And I called him and I said, give me the information you have, and let's see what we can do to help. At that point, we exhausted a lot of different options. And eventually Israel was able to step up and ultimately, extract the family from Afghanistan. And I built a relationship with Khurshid. We spoke, I think, for 2 months. I don't think either of us slept properly. And I'm personally glad to welcome, the family here. I will tell you one thing: when she met the first Israelis that got her out of the country, she said, can I go to Israel first to say Kaddish on my parents' grave? And
that's what she's hoping.
It's a beautiful. Yeah, so that's all.
Are your grandparents were buried in Israel? No.
Yes, they are buried in Israel, and my mom, since the day that she found out that they passed away, so every night, not every night, every Saturday night, she light candles for them and she pray for them.
Now I want to ask, what is the big thing that Canadians can do?
Visa, yeah, we need visa for not only for my family, for all those Afghans. Their life was in danger, and now they are in a safe place, better place, but they have to have a good future. So in order to have that, they need to come to Canada to build a good life for themselves and as well as for their children. So we really need support from Canadian government for their visa as soon as possible, because they are in a camp where there are like 10,000 people in Abu Dhabi living in that camp, and the situation is not good, and it's very difficult, and the weather is very hot in that country. So hopefully we are all hoping that all those refugees come to Canada and start a new life.
Thank you so much again for being on the CJN Daily. And it's just an amazing thing that you've done, Joe, and kol hakavod.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you so much for your time, Helen. Thank you so much. We appreciate for your time.